So the Pran Pratishtha is done and the Ram temple is ready. But what's next? That is the question on many people's minds. Many have described Pran Pratishtha and the opening of the Mandir as a pivotal moment in Indian politics. But how is Indian politics going to be defined by the Ram Mandir? We have seen the entire caste coalitions coming together in the 90s, and that also had an influence on the Ram Mandir momentum. Today we have author Badri Narayan with us, who's also an academic and who has studied this aspect of politics very closely. Professor Narayan, thank you so much for speaking to us, sir. First of all, sir, I read your piece in the Indian Express where you clearly say that Ram Mandir will be presented as one of the achievements of the BJP government, and probably it may not be central to what Mr. Narendra Modi's campaign would be like. Why do you say that, sir?
Vasudha, actually, my argument is in this, why I am pursuing this argument. Because, Ram Janmabhoomi, the momentum, the way Prime Minister stated proposed, that it may be the momentum of creating energy or energizing Indian community to rebuild 2000, Viksit Bharat 2047 and evolve a future-based vision of making Indian society and politics. And he appealed to the people to reframe yourself, rebuild yourself, recollect your energy scattered here and there, based on the Ram consciousness, and evolve country plan the country development of the countries for 1,000 years. So yes, it's right that Ram Janmabhoomi thing is politically matters a lot. Actually, it's gave a big sweep to the BJP in the process of mobilization of politics in India. Mobilization of politics in India. There is no other competitor. Actually, those who couldn't come there, they lost the entire opportunity.
Right.
Otherwise, they can use to say, look, we were there, but we have a difference, and we have this argument, but the entire ground, So
Right.
they are why they have done. It's a very, I think it's a very wrong political strategy which opposition took place.
Right.
But your question is that why I say like this. PM, the next election, next 2022, Ram Janmabhoomi will be a discourse, a discourse of the bucket of the BJP political discourse, but not central. Central would be beneficiary. Central would be the development and making Viksit Bharat 2047. See, wherever Pradhan Mantri went, he interacted with the Bharati. Even in Ayodhya, when he
Right.
came here, Bharati. Viksit Bharat, the Gadi, the
Right.
vehicle, visiting every village to India. And you remember his lecture, yesterday he
Yes.
gave. The one side of the lecture was for the development of the nation. Using
Right.
Ram meant for the preparing nation for taking sweep for 2047. So development will be the central, and in that beneficiary would be the main core in that
Right.
development. Because
Right.
a huge beneficiary group has been immersed by the policy of Indian government, central government, various kinds of Garib Kalyan. Today also, the letter which he wrote
Yes.
to the president, he mentioned
Yes.
that I get inspiration from Ram for Garib Kalyan.
Yes.
Garib Kalyan. So Garib Kalyan would be the central. And the free ration, the DBT, the pension, the now solar
Right.
thing. These are all creating day by day, making the circle of the beneficiary bigger. And
Yes.
this beneficiary emerged as a class,
Right.
and
Right.
it works beyond the caste. And
Right.
so the caste politics which opposition is trying to pursue through reservation politics is going to be outdated. In the discourse the kind of discourse which beneficiary Modi government or PM Modi is pursuing is
Yes.
beyond caste.
Yes.
It will create a class. It includes poor marginals of every caste. It includes middle class of every caste, aspiring community of every caste. So it's a
Yes.
new configuration which Modi has pursued in this electoral in this discourse. So my argument
Absolutely.
around that.
Yeah, Professor Badri, when we read Nehru, there is a lot of emphasis on Ashoka. There's a lot of emphasis on Buddha. India was also seen as the land of Gandhi, Buddha. Of course, it is also the land of Ram. So when we talk about politics of religiosity, yesterday we saw bandharas everywhere in Delhi. So I'm sure this religiosity or the expression of it is not new. There was always this class and section of people that believed in it. What has changed now, according to you, and in the Prime Minister's own expression of who Ram is, because he describes him as Urja and not Ag? How significant is that statement? And when he's talking about icons that are so integral to our everyday lives, like Lord Ram, what does that mean for the common man and woman of India?
See, PM Modi, all icons, no, political icons, try to use their influence for positive things. During Nehru also tried to Gandhi, Nehru, they all tried to use their their image for mobilizing people for the bigger cause. But what is changed? What is saved? Actually, PM Modi constantly is using is evolving his brand, his influences through various kinds of function, works, delivery of policies, and creating connect with the people, and using those and again using that symbol, which he is the symbol which is being day by day powerful in people imagination. He is using to create a psyche of development, to inspire, inspire or develop to become developed. It's a kind of resurgence of India, creating a resurgence for India. It's a Punarjagaran. He is using his own influences, his own the image to create a confidence, sense of confidence, the kind of recovery of the lost confidence which we suffered through
Yes.
70 years of the colonial influence, and inspiring as evolving aspiration to in the people, developing their capacity to inspire to aspire, and using that aspiration for development. So
Right.
nation building needs your commitment, needs
Right.
so what you call कि अपने को झोंक
Uh-huh.
देना in the mission. So
Right.
nation building 2047 is a mission, and PM Modi is trying youth religious movement for inspiring people for the development and
Right.
confidence, self-identity and development,
Right.
and dignity and development. What he
Right.
called Virasat se Vikas tak. So
Right.
Virasat, he is trying to evolve a Bhavya and Divya Virasat, and using that Bhavya and Divya Virasat for development. And
Right.
it's very interesting that the way he is defining Ram,
Yeah.
is excellent. The way he is evolving various kinds of linkages of
Right.
narrative from there, or threads of narrative from there, and using all those threads for making Indian people a powerful energy for making India Viksit Bharat in 2047, and planning for what I wrote a piece in Indian Express, you must have remembered, and that I said that first time in Indian politics, Narendra Modi made broad future as political discourse. Nehru, there is no discussion about future in Nehru. Entire
Right.
speeches, writings, you can see. And Indira Gandhi, Charan Singh, Chandrasekhar, VP Singh, all were grasped by the
Yes.
the present was dominant on them, because they were
Right.
mostly 5 years planning. Nehru entire plan was 5 years planning. So he was
Yes.
planning country for the 5 year development. But Modi is thinking about thousands of years, no, and that's
Yes.
a vision for thousands of years, making India Viksit Bharat, global Bharat, globally important Bharat, powerful Bharat. So it's what we call gathering, collecting your fractured and dispersed energy, bringing together through the symbol of Ram, and use those energy for the developing the nation. Virashat, memory for development,
Right.
remembering for development. So
Remembering
he's
through that. So I think
religious.
that is what the Rashtra Nirman message probably
Yes.
was said to do. But Professor Patri, in the 80s and 90s, we know that the Ram Temple movement did give a lot of political impetus to the BJP from 2 seats in 84 to 89 seats in the late 80s. But clearly, then the BJP Sangh Parivar was in the opposition. How do you see, as an academic who has tracked this so closely, and also you've tracked the Dalit movement so closely? So how do you see the future of the Hindutva movement now? Because today I was reading Abhinav Prakash's article, and he talks about how we are also proceeding towards modern Hinduism, where we're talking about social inclusion. It's actually the Shankaracharyas who are saying that, who are talking about defiling and caste and all that. But Mr. Modi here is talking about social inclusion. He has 16 couples who are from different castes. This is something you also wrote about in Republic of Hindutva. So clearly, there are many lessons that the Sangh Parivar has learned from the past. It is a new BJP, it's a new RSS. How do you see this change, sir, and what does this reflect for the future of Hindutva in India?
Vasudha, it's a very good question. Actually, there is two part of Hindutva configurations nowadays. One is the Sangh, and other is the Modi politics of the or the ideas of the Modi. No? You're very right that, and I wrote also that Sangh Parivar, Hindutva, contemporary Hindutva is becoming day by day inclusive and trying to include each and everyone who are left out from the X discourse. So Dalits, even Muslims, entire churning of including Muslims, is going on. You must have heard the Modi Bhaijar kind of discourse has emerged. So slowly, they are trying to enter in the Muslim section of the society also. So, and Dalits, even most marginal Dalits, just you have heard that Bharat Ratna has been
Yes.
going to given to the Kapuri Thakur, no? Is
Yes.
moving towards most marginal communities and most MBC. And similarly in Dalits, entire policies, the Garib Kalyan policies are trying to focus to margins of the margins. They are trying to push it to the margin. So Hindutva is becoming inclusive. I'll modern or actually there is no modern and no ancient. No? Any movement can always evolve, and in the process of evolution, the context plays very important role. So now they are in. They have showed their influence, and now they have to grow. And for the grow, they have to evolve their appetite.
Yes.
And I said in my book also that they have a very strong appetite. They can
Right.
include each and everyone. On the other hand, Modi ji, PM Modi is also working to the for the inclusion of most marginal voices, most marginal communities. Yesterday, you must have heard his lecture where he mentioned about the Sabri, Nishad
Yes.
Raj, Chayu, even Gilhari as a symbol of the most marginal, of the weaker people. He interpreted in that, and you must have. I wrote a piece a week ago in Times of India. I mentioned that it is Sarv Samavesi message. He also want to give a Sarv Samavesi message from the image of that. So Hindutva and the policy of the current government is towards including each and everyone. And gradually, they are moving towards that. So Hindutva is now not that kind of Hindutva, which was conventional Hindutva, means the Hindutva before 60 or Hindutva before 50. Now the Hindutva, which is, you can see working in the local time, where you have
Right.
to engage local and also global. And Hindu has already brought a moment of Ram
Right.
moving, and now they have to. Yesterday you have heard the
Yes.
election of Mohan Mohan Rao Bhagwat,
Right. Yes.
and it was really no, he tried
Yes.
to make his circle bigger and
Yes.
give the message of inclusion and the message of working for the nation, for the not Josh, Posh. He
Push.
said
Yes,
Posh,
sir.
and we have to prove and we have to contribute in the nation in the community and taking care of the poor, subaltern of the subaltern, margin of the margin.
Yes.
Similarly, PM Modi made also his lecture very wider circle, created a wider
Yeah.
circle of it's a huge vision which tried to push by a study lecture, and he tried to create a bigger circle of his imagination.
Right. Yes, sir.
Uh, this is the way where Hindutva has to move, and they are moving. It will be Hindutva of inclusion, no that kind of the kind of the hereditary, what we call the kind of dominate, various kinds of processes, various kinds of casteism, that will not work. And
Right.
Shankaracharya kind of definition, which represents the conventional notion of Hindutva, it will not work now, because
Right.
now, in the setting in which RSS is working, in one way it's a social reform movement kind of thing. No?
Yes.
They are
Right.
working amongst in society. They are working with various community.
Yeah.
This is the problems. What kind of inclusion, exclusion are people
Right.
facing? So now they are working to evolve to remove those kind of
Right.
exclusions. That process, they will have to change many things in the process of popular Hindutva. You can say
Right.
popular Hinduism, not the textual Hinduism. Textual
Right.
Hinduism, I think, is an entirely different thing, which Shankaracharya is pursuing. And Shankaracharya
Yes.
said that
Yeah.
we are talking about the Shastra. No,
Yeah.
We are talking about the Shastra with the life.
Yeah.
Shastra, when goes with the life, it has to change, because time
Right.
is changing.
Absolutely. My last question to you, sir. Tell me, what do you think is the future of Dravidian politics? Because we saw the Prime Minister also go to the south of India, and Tamil Nadu especially has Dravidian philosophy, which basically asks people to safeguard against this assault of North Indian gods. There is a lot of pride over local gods, but he did talk about a collective sense of unity, civilizational unity. In fact, he went to Dhanush Kodi and where the Ram Setu is, and he went to all those places which have close associations with Ram, making it clear that there shouldn't be any distinctions between North Indian gods and South Indian gods. And also, one thing about the Ambedkarite groups, we've also seen the springing up of so many Ambedkarite groups. Many of them are quite radical, quite effective in their thought processes, in their writings. What happens to these groups, sir, in future, now that Hindutva, like you said, RSS is working like a social reform movement? So do they get completely sort of embedded in this whole thing, or do they stand alone? Do they counter it, but with numbers that may not be able to match up with what this particular section has?
Vasuda, see, the Dravidian movement is really a counter narrative of what the kind of despairs are being created by this comment, or the Hindutva, the kind of Hindutva is popular in North India. But South India, also Ram consciousness, what Prime Minister did in 11 days of his uh, visit to all the places which had to represent the Ram memory.
Yes.
So he tried to explore memory zones of Ram located in South India, and collect and try to give the message of national unity. There is a no South divide. There is a no Dravidian also, PMP is trying, BJP is trying, RSS is also trying to bring them, to include them. And for that inclusion, they have started Kashi Tamil Sangamam, they have started
Yes.
Tamil Sangamam, and trying to reinterpret the Shiva and the relationship with the Shiva with the Dravidian land. So, and they are also changing. No? So you see, entire Hindutva is changing. BJP is now not in direct with Brahman Baniya party.
Yeah.
It's OBC, Dalit, marginal voices, very importantly. So one day or another day, the Dravidian movement has to understand this, but it will take a long time, because there is a
Right.
culture. BJP has to evolve a language to connect with them. They have entirely different language, and the Sangh and the BJP has a challenge to evolve a connect, and those connects are not yet much. They have not
Right.
able to explore much point of connects with the Tamil land, with the non-Brahmin movement, with the Dravidian movement. But this is the challenge which they have to face, and they are working on that. So in
Right.
future, in 10 years, you can find a big shift in Tamil politics, and their entry in Tamil land will grow. Your question about the Right.
Ambedkar.
Yes, you are right. That there are various groups in Midnight who neo-Buddhist movement. They are very critical towards Islam. But Buddhism, the neo-Buddhists, they are trying to include Buddhists with the Hindutva, engage with the Buddhists, and bring them to the Hindutva engagement. Yesterday, you must have noticed
Yes.
Buddhist saints were
Well,
also invited.
yes.
Sikh saints were invited. Various kinds of heterogeneous sects were invited. So they are trying a lot of efforts. They are doing cultural efforts to bring Buddhists closer to the Hindutva groups or Hindutva movement or movement. We can say, we cannot say Hindutva sphere. So, and you must have observed that there is a shift among Dalits towards BJP in a big way in North India. In Maharashtra, in South India, also that may be observed. But it will take some time to, again, they have to evolve a language. Again, there is also a problem of diction. BJP has to evolve a diction and try to engage with them. RSS also need to evolve a diction to engage with this kind of radical Ambedkarite groups, bring them around the table, for the round table, discuss with them, and try to explain what they are doing. So there is a need of a lot of sanshay, lot of pre-assumptions that BJP has
Yes.
OS. This kind of things are going on among their mind. So there is a need to understand their psyche, what is their aspiration, and trying to connect with their diction, and through diction try to give a confidence, evolve a confidence among them about Hindutva, and trying to tell, look, this Hindutva is recently he visited to the Kalaram temple, that
Yes.
temple where
Yes.
Ambedkar
Yes.
temple movement from there. So he tried to give the message, symbolic message, also some substantial message, substantial message through developmental projects, symbolic message through this kind of effort. But saying that there is a strong need, there is a need to evolve that kind of diction,
Diction.
and that diction will require and I don't know how you hear,
Yes,
but
sir.
the way Modi is trying to push the arguments of this government, and also Sangh is trying to become more and inclusive. I think maybe not today, but tomorrow they will bring them in their inclusive, because you see the future now the future of this kind of political mobilization and this kind of the sphere, and they are the party of the future. They are the politics of the future. So
Yes.
whoever party and the politics of the future, whoever is the social mobilization for the future, they have to include each and every. And I remember Modi once told in his lecture in Parliament, somewhere in Parliament, that among these party members, that जो आज हमारे हैं हमारे हैं, जो हमारे नहीं है कल हमारे होंगे. So he's trying to give the message that no one, कोई भी other नहीं है, कोई भी हमारा विरोधी नहीं है. Everyone is ours. And yesterday also he told you, Ram
Yes.
sabki. Actually, through Ram he was saying about his
Right.
aspiration, his planning, his vision.
Yeah.
Ram is a symbol. Through Ram he was trying to give the various kinds of message
Right.
to the public.
Thank you, Professor Badri, for those insights. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us on NDTV.
Thank you,
Thank
Vasudha,
you, sir.
for
Thank you.
discussing on this. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
sir. Bye, sir.